in that special place where the boys are napping and it's not time to get out from school yet. And so I wanted to pop on because literally I thought about you guys all morning. And I spent my entire morning in the car. Okay, so I was driving, I put my daughter on the bus, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, hi, Courtney. And I was driving, right, all day. And so this is the first opportunity I've had to really come here and share this with you all. I know I didn't do it I've been doing my lives and events because I find that actually gives people a better heads up, but this was not a pre-planned live. So we'll see. It may just be you and me for a while, Courtney. That's okay. Hi, Ashley. I'm super happy you're here. Hi. Give this a share to your team pages. I think this could really be very helpful because I know one of the things that not just people in this business, but people in general, we tend to struggle with the type of things that I'm going to discuss here. So hopefully this is helpful. So here's the thing. When at the beginning of this school year, I was putting Elle on the school bus and I was sending Ben to school, and kids always have those doubts when they start school, right? And they get nervous. They're nervous about leaving home, leaving mom, leaving dad, being at school. Maybe there's a kid at school that's not very nice, maybe whatever it is, right? This is a thing that happens. And so somewhere along the way, I was really nervous, especially for my daughter being in kindergarten. She's one of the youngest ones in her class. Her birthday's not till June, so she was barely 5 when she started kindergarten. And I personally, when I was in school, not necessarily elementary school, but definitely middle school, dealt with a lot of bullying and all that sort of stuff and mean girls. And this has been something that I have literally stressed about, right, is the mean girls and worrying about my kid and wanting to make sure she's okay and wanting to make sure that she feels confident and that, all those things, the things we worry about for our children. I promise this is going to tie into business. Okay. And so I had seen on Facebook some viral video, and it was a dad, brushing his daughter's hair or doing his daughter's hair. And he was speaking affirmations to her. Right. And I think she was repeating them back to him. Right. And so he was saying I can't even remember what he was saying, but it was affirmations. Guys, if you don't know what an affirmation is literally a quick phrase or sentence that literally is affirming, as in it lifts you up, it builds you up. And so when we talk about affirmations, most of the time we talk about saying them out loud, either looking in the mirror and saying them out loud to yourself or saying them to somebody else. So anyway, it was this really cute video of this dad and his daughter, and he was like really speaking these affirmations to her, and she was repeating them. She was young. She had to be like 2 or 3, and she was repeating them back to him. And so I watched that video, and it was so sweet, right? Makes you teary. And I was like, I'm going to start to do that with my kids. I'm going to start to do that. And I was like, all right, they need to be succinct. It can't be too long. It needs to be exactly what I want them to hear, what I need them to hear, what I need them to tell themselves. Okay. And part of me was like, affirmations, I don't know if those work. And this is anybody who's been here in the past 3 years knows that I'm somebody who's really big on surrounding yourself with uplifting words and the kind of the way you talk to yourself, your self-talk, all that sort of stuff. You guys know I'm really into that. But when it came to actual verbal affirmations, like of my children, of other people, I was like, I don't know if this is really going to make a difference. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. But this is what I knew. I knew that my parents didn't really intentionally give affirmations to me and my brother, not intentionally, but there were things they said that have always had a drastic impact on my life. Like they always told me I could do whatever I wanted to do as long as I was willing to work for it. They always told me I could be whatever I wanted to be as long as I was willing to work for it. They always told me stuff like that. And so I really never had a lot of self-doubt about my capability, right? Things like that. So I knew that I was like, okay, maybe what I communicate to my kids is going to make a difference in how they experience school and how they perceive themselves. You feel me? I promise this is going to get around to business. So I started, I don't know, like a month or 2 into school. This is what I tell my kids every single morning. I tell Elle, I look at Elle, I make her look me in the eyeballs. I crouch down in front of her at the bus stop and I say, you are beautiful, you are kind, you are brave, you work hard. And then somewhere along in the way in the school year, because this is one of my favorite phrases ever, I added at the end, I said, I want you to repeat after me. I want you to say, I can do hard things. And so she started to repeat after me, I can do hard things. And I would tell her that every morning. And I look at Ben when I send him off to school with Chris, and I look at him, I say, you are handsome, you are brave, you are kind, you work hard, you can do hard things. Okay. And I think it started with me saying you can do hard things. And then I made them start to repeat it after me. So here's the most beautiful thing. And I promise this is where it's kind of going to maybe all come together. As the year has progressed, my kids know every single day I say that to them before I send them on their way to school. And Elle, who's older than Ben, Elle's going to be 6 next month. Elle has started to, as I'm saying it, she says it, except for she says it with I. So as I say, you're beautiful, she says, I am beautiful, I am kind, I am brave, I work hard, I can do hard things. Okay? And so, and she says it. Like, you look at her and you're like, when I started doing this at the beginning of the year, I did not know if it was going to have an impact. But I can see in the way that she says it, that she believes it. That she believes it. And Ben believes it. And Ben, he doesn't say the whole thing with me, but at the very end, I stop at you work hard, and he says, I can do hard things. Okay? Both of those kids say to me every single day out loud, even if Elle doesn't say the whole thing with me, and she at least always says the end, I can do hard things. I can do hard things. Okay? And it's so important to me that they believe that, and that they believe these things about themselves, because those are often, there's a lot of things about it, right? So the bus stop this morning, Elle says to me, and just in case you're wondering how I know that they believe it, I heard Elle talking to Ben, I don't know, last week or the week before. I heard her talking to Ben, and there was something he was trying to climb a tree. He was trying to climb a tree in our yard, and I don't help my kids do stuff like that. I think you either do it or you don't do it, or you keep trying until you can do it. But if I do it for you, you have no motivation to work hard at it and do it yourself. So I'm, and I'm like, I love you. Like, I believe you can do it, but it's going to take practice, that sort of stuff. And so I hear Elle talking to Ben. I'm like sitting a ways away, and she's like, come on, Ben, you can do it. You can do hard things, because Ben's sitting there. I can't, it's too hard. And I hear Elle looking at Ben and telling Ben, you can do hard things, Ben, you can do hard things. It was the most beautiful sight. Okay, so now on to the bus stop this morning. So this morning, sometimes Elle gets grouchy or finicky, because she just does, because she's human. And she says, I go through the whole thing. She wants to play with her brother. And I said, hey, before you play with your brother, real quick, I have to talk to you. And she's like, and so I look at her and I say the same thing that I say every single morning. You're beautiful. You are kind, you are brave, you work hard. And then I looked at her and I was like, say it. And she was like, I don't want to say it. And I was like, well, if you're not going to say it, then I'll say it. I said, you can do hard things. And she's like, I can't do hard things. And part of it was probably her being silly. But you guys know, many of you know me. And I was like, oh no, babe. I was like, we don't even joke about that. I was like, because what you say becomes real. And I said, so you don't walk around and say that you can't do hard things, because what you say becomes real. So what you want to have in life, what you want to be, you say that. You don't say you can't do hard things. I said, you don't have to say it out loud today that you can do hard things. I will say it for you today, but you certainly don't say that you can't do hard things, because yes, you can. And I was like, and you have to know that what you say becomes what is. And she was like, okay. And she kind of like, I don't know, she went about what she was doing, and she played with Ben or whatever. And then right before she got on the bus, she was about to get on the bus. And right before she got on the bus, she started to walk. She ran back. She gave me a hug. And then she looked at me and she said, I can do hard things. And I said, yes, you can. And she got on the bus. And so what does this whole dang story have to do with you guys? So I was driving today, and I was thinking about how, on one hand, I was thinking about how happy I am that I started doing that with my kids, and when I'm going to start doing that with Matt. And I was thinking, I don't know if it can change or affect the whole trajectory of their entire life, but I feel like it's a good start. And I feel like if, there's a meme that's been going around Facebook that says, can't even remember how it says it, but it basically is like, your goal as a parent is to fill your kids' buckets enough that the world can't, that the world can't, drain it by with all the holes it's going to poke in it, right? And I was thinking about how I want my kids to feel so loved and so capable and have that sense of internal like pride and belief in themselves that no matter how many times the world tries to tear them down, because it will try to tear them down, because that's what this is. And it's going to happen in school, and it's going to happen in middle school, and it's going to happen in high school, and it happens as an adult. But I want them to be so overflowing from what they receive at home and believe it, that when they go out into that world, it can't affect them, right? So I'm sitting here thinking about parenting. It started by thinking about parenting. This does have to do with you guys, I promise. Then I was like, yeah, because I know that my stepdad and my mom, not even intentionally, but just in the way that they spoke to me, helped me believe in myself in a way that no matter what happened, even though there were some really low points, I always believed in myself, right? And that's a huge privilege that I've had in life, was just the sheer amount of belief that they poured into me, and I want to pour that into my kids. And so then I was thinking about so then that got me thinking about you guys. And I was like, maybe I should do a live and talk about affirmations and talk about, believing in yourself. And then I thought, one of the first things though that sometimes comes up in these situations is people saying, well, I never had that. I had a really traumatic childhood. I didn't have somebody that believed in me. I didn't have somebody that told me all of these things. I didn't have XYZ, or I had not only did I not have, I had the opposite. I had somebody that tore me down, that was horrible to me, that was abusive, all those things. I know that that's the truth for so many people. And likely so many people on this team as well. And I certainly don't want to discount those experiences. But I want to tell you this. Even if you didn't receive it as a child, you can receive it now as an adult. And the person you're going to receive it from is you. Okay? You have to be the one willing to give yourself those affirmations. Do you hear me? You have to be the one that looks yourself in the mirror and says out loud, you are beautiful, you are kind, you are brave, you work hard, you can do hard things, or whatever you need the affirmation to be. But we love to deprive ourselves of that. And maybe love isn't the right word, obviously, but we so frequently deprive ourselves of those things. We deprive ourselves of the very encouragement that we wish somebody had given us when we were children. Okay, and just because that foundation wasn't laid when you're a child does not mean that it's too late now. It is never too late. All right, but you have to know that it has to come from within you. You have to be the one to start affirming yourself. Okay, and to start giving yourself the thing that you need to wake up every day and move forward. Because you know what? It's not just 5-year-olds that need that. It's 20-year-olds and 25-year-olds and 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds. Shoot, my mom is in her 60s. She could use that. I know that this right here, this topic, doesn't necessarily speak to selling product, but you have to love yourself enough to allow yourself to become the things you want to be in life. You have to love yourself enough and in doing that, that's going to give you the confidence you need. That's going to give you the bravery you need. That's going to morph you into the person you need to be to become successful or anything else that you want to be in life. You feel me? And so this small moment that happens every day at the bus stop, I was thinking about how thankful I am for that that viral video on Facebook months and months and months and months ago of a dad doing affirmations with her daughter. And I thought, why don't more people do affirmations of themselves? You have to be willing to affirm yourself. You have to be willing to speak encouragement to yourself. Okay. And sometimes we're waiting for somebody to come and save us. We're waiting for somebody else to come and affirm us and tell us the things we need to hear. And I'm here to tell you, it's your job. It's your job It starts from within you. And it's nice when we receive affirming comments. It's nice when we receive encouragement. That's really wonderful. But it's not nearly as powerful as when it comes from inside. Okay, a tangent but connected to that. One of the things I love about Ben's school that's closing down and that makes me really sad, but one of the things I've really valued about Ben's school is at the very beginning of the year, and Elle went to this school as well, at the very beginning of the year, you get a binder that comes home and it's going to be their portfolio of their work, and there's a paper in it. And it actually says on this sheet of paper, be mindful of how you speak to your children about the work they bring home. In Montessori, we do not do our work for other people. We do our work for ourselves. We do our work to feel our own sense of accomplishment, to see how far we've come. And so it's as difficult as it is, refrain from gushing and telling your child how proud you are. Instead, which isn't to say you don't ever tell your child you're proud of, but instead ask them. Instead, make observations. Wow, it looks like you worked so hard on that. You picked those colors. Why did you pick those colors? What do you like best about your work? They encourage you to use reflective language to get your child to think about what they're proud of, right? To encourage that kind of self-pride, that self-fulfillment of, listen, like, I did this, right? And do we still tell our kids we're proud of them? Absolutely, right? Because they need to hear that too, but they also need to be encouraged to be proud of themselves. And it's the same. It's the same with adults. Too often we wait for the affirmation or validation from everybody else to make sure that we're good, to make sure that, okay, I did a good job. And guys, I am so bad about, that's me. Okay, that's me. I just, we hunger for that affirmation from other people. But if you allow the validation to come from within first and the affirmation to come from within first, you are going to rise up so much stronger. And it's not that you're not ever going to need affirmation or validation from other people. Certainly. That's just human connection, right? But we have to learn to affirm ourselves and to validate ourselves and to be proud of ourselves without regard for what the people around us are saying. Because here's the deal. Other people are not predictable. Okay? They're not predictable. And it's not their fault. It's just human nature. Right? I sometimes think, I'm going to use myself as an example because but like sometimes I think, man, I should be doing more to let people know they're doing a good job, to let people know I see them, to let people know whatever. But here's the deal. Life happens and I get busy with life, or I've got things with Chris, or I've got things with kids, or I have a really crazy month and maybe I drop the ball. And if somebody is waiting on me to fill that validating cup, man, that's going to drop off. And that's also putting a lot of burden on other people. When really, first and foremost, the person who has the most obligation to us is ourselves. You have the most obligation to you. So watch what you say to yourself. Choose to affirm yourself, not tear yourself down. Don't berate yourself. Okay? Choose to affirm yourself, even if you don't believe it right away. Because I'm pretty sure the first time I said these things to my kids, they were kind of like, it's not that they didn't believe them, but I'm sure it was like, Mom is saying this stuff. But the more you say it, you become it. Okay? The longer you say it, the more you look in the mirror. And then you start to think about all your other decisions in the day. Man, I'm beautiful, I am kind, I am brave, I work hard, I can do hard things. And so then you know what? The first time you face a hard thing, and you start to think, and then you think, I can do hard things. They pop up in your head and you start to rise up to the occasion. Okay? That I can do hard things phrase, it's not even mine. I got it from Glennon Doyle Melton from her book, Carry On Warrior, I believe. Anyway, she says it all the time. And I actually used it in a speech at a residency graduation dinner for the spouses. I did a talk for the spouses. And I talked about, being the wife of a resident and the wife of a soldier and all that sort of stuff. And I talked about, this is hard, but we can do hard things. And it's become a mantra. it's become a mantra for my entire life. And every time something hard comes up, I say it. When Chris's uncle died and I messaged his mom, no, not his mom, sorry. I messaged his wife, Chris's aunt. And, and I said, gave my condolences, all that said. And I was like, Julie, this is hard. I said, but you know what? And I was like, we shouldn't have to, and we don't want to, but we can do hard things. And, man, I say it to everybody. My point is, though, the daily affirmations, when you do them, when you say them, you less and less and less need the affirmation from other people because you have it radiating from within you. And if you can rise up in that, it's going to help you be more successful in your business. It's going to help you cope with whatever life struggle you're facing. It's going to help you overcome whatever's happening. Whatever did or did not happen when you were a child is valid and matters. But it doesn't get to shape who you are as an adult. You have that responsibility. You get to shape you as an adult. You get to determine who you are and what is true about you. Okay, you get to decide those things, not whatever did or did not happen back in the day. Okay? That's what I wanted to tell you guys. That's what I've been thinking about all day. I hope that this is helpful to somebody today. I know it doesn't help you sell kudos, but I think that it's far more valuable than selling kudos. Don't get me wrong, selling kudos is the jam. Okay? But sometimes we need to hear the things that are going to help us believe in ourselves enough to be able to do the work to sell the kudos, to do the work to build a team, to do the work to rise up into leadership. Because if you don't have that confidence from within in the beginning, you're going to have a really difficult time rising up to be the person you need to be successful in your business. So, thanks, friends, for hanging out. Please share if you know somebody on the team. This is within our, I guess I can save it maybe, but please share if you know somebody who on your team or you think your team might need to hear it. I hope you guys have an awesome day. I'm sending you all the hugs, Erin, all the hugs. And what was I going to say, you guys? It's Ben's birthday, so I'm going to try to quick do some makeup and then, this was more important than going and doing that first. So have a really, really awesome day, friends. I will, if I don't catch you guys on the internet for the rest of today, I will definitely catch you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.